One of the most expensive mistakes a seller can make is not always bad photos, or bad timing, or even picking the wrong paint color. A lot of times, the most expensive mistake is this: chasing the market down. And if you're thinking about selling a home anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, like Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, or Norfolk, for example, this is something you really need to understand before you pick a list price for your home. Because a lot of sellers think, let's just start high and we can always come down later. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But in real estate, that strategy can backfire. So when you overprice a home at the beginning, you can miss the strongest buyer attention your home is ever going to get. Then the home sits. Days on market start adding up. Buyers start wondering what is wrong. Then you cut the price. Then maybe you cut it again. And before you know it, you're not leading the market anymore. You are chasing the market down. And that can cost you money, time, leverage, and peace of mind. So in this video, I'm going to break down what chasing the market down really means, why overpricing can hurt sellers more than they realize, and how to avoid this mistake before your home ever hits the market. So what does chasing the market really mean? Well, let's define this really clear. Chasing the market down happens when a home starts out overpriced, misses its best launch momentum, and then has to reduce later after buyers have already moved on. It usually starts with a seller saying something like, let's try this price first, or we need room to negotiate, or someone can always make an offer. We can always come down later. Now, I understand why a seller thinks that way. Nobody wants to leave money on the table. Nobody wants to feel like they sold too low. And if you have lived in your home for years, you know what you have put into it. You know the memories, the repairs you've made. You know the updates. You know what you owe on the property. And you know what you need for that next move. But here's the hard truth. Buyers do not price your home based on what you need. Buyers price your home based on what else they can buy. Now that is where sellers can get into trouble. A seller may look at their home emotionally, but a buyer looks at options. They are comparing your home to every other home in their price range. They are comparing condition. They are comparing location. They are comparing square footage, and they're comparing updates. The commute time. They are comparing neighborhoods. And if your home is priced higher than what buyers believe it is worth, a lot of the time, then they will not even make a low offer. They will just skip it. That is the part sellers need to understand. The market does not always give you loud feedback. Sometimes the feedback is just silence, like no showings, low activity, no offers, buyers saving the listing but not scheduling a showing, agents showing of the home, other homes instead, and silence is feedback too. And if you wait too long to listen to it, you can end up chasing the market down. So why the first price matters so much? Your first price is one of the most important decisions in the whole selling process. Not because it can never change, but because it shapes how buyers first see your home. And when your home first hits the market, that is the best chance to make a strong first impression. Buyers who have alerts set up, they see it. Agents see it. People who have been waiting for the right home see it. Your listing is fresh. Your photos are new. Your marketing is new. Your home has momentum. Now that launch window matters, but if the price is too high, that momentum can get wasted. So instead of buyers saying, we need to go see this one, they say, nah, it seems too high. or we can get more for that money, or let's just wait. Maybe they'll reduce. We'll keep looking. That is not what you want. You want buyers to feel urgency about your home. You want buyers to feel like the home makes sense. And you want buyers to feel like waiting could cost them the opportunity. But when the price feels disconnected from what that may cause buyers to hesitate. And hesitation will kill momentum. And that is why we can always come down later is not always harmless. Yes, you can reduce the price later, of course. But the real question is, what did you lose while you were waiting to do that? You may have lost your best buyer pool. You may have lost early excitement. You may have lost the leverage that you had. You may have lost buyers who were ready to act but chose something else. And once that happens, a price reduction may not create the excitement the home would have had if it had launched correctly from the beginning. So here's the thing. Let's talk about days on the market. Now, because this is one of the biggest reasons overpricing can get expensive, when a home is brand new, buyers usually look at it with fresh eyes, right? But as the days on the market start climbing, buyer psychology starts to change. At first they think, wow, new listing. Then they think, why hasn't this sold? Then they think, is it overpriced? Or is something wrong with it? Then after a price reduction, they may start to think, well, they'll come down even more probably. Now that shift matters because once buyers start thinking that way, your negotiating position can change. A buyer may be willing to offer strong on a fresh, well-priced home, but if the home has been sitting, they may feel like they have more leverage as time goes on. They may offer a low-ball offer. They may ask for more repairs. They may negotiate harder after the inspection, and they may assume the seller is getting nervous. Now that does not happen every time, but it happens enough that sellers need to pay attention. Days on the market is not just a number, it is a signal. And in Hampton Roads, where buyers compare homes across Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Suffolk, Portsmouth, and surrounding areas, that signal matters. Buyers have options. If your home is overpriced and sitting, they may not wait around. They may choose the better positioned home down the street or even in another city. Now, number 3 is overpricing can kill your help sell the other competition. Now, here's another way sellers don't think about it. When your home is overpriced, it can actually make your competition look better. A buyer may look at your home online and say, that just seems high. Then they look at another home nearby that is priced more realistically. Suddenly, the other home looks like a better deal. Now, your listing has just helped sell your neighbor's home. That is not what you want. This is why pricing is not just about what you want to try. It is about how buyers will compare your home. Now, if a buyer can get a cleaner home, a larger home, a better location, or a more updated home for similar money, they are going to notice. And if your home does not match the price, they may not even schedule a showing. This is especially important in Hampton Roads because buyers' search does not always stop at city lines. A Virginia Beach seller may be competing with homes in Chesapeake. A Chesapeake seller may be competing with homes in Virginia Beach. A Norfolk seller may be competing with options in Portsmouth, Suffolk, or Chesapeake, depending on buyers' needs. So before you list, you need to ask, what else can a buyer buy for this money? That is one of the most important pricing questions you can ask yourself. Now, if you're thinking about selling a home in Virginia Beach or Chesapeake or anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, please just comment the word price below and I'll actually put a guide in the description that you can download and check out. Now, it will help you think through active competition, recently sold homes, price reductions, days on market, buyer behavior, and launch strategy before you pick a price. Like I said, just comment the word price and I'll send it over to you. Now, let's talk about price reductions are not always bad, but timing matters. Now, I want to be clear. A price reduction is not always a bad thing. Sometimes the market changes. Sometimes the first price misses the mark. And sometimes feedback shows that an adjustment needs to happen. The problem is not just always the reduction. The problem is waiting too long and reducing too little. That is where sellers can really get hurt. If the market is clearly rejecting the price, but the seller only reduces by a tiny amount, it may not change the buyer behavior at all. The home may still feel overpriced. Then it keeps sitting. Then another price cut happens. Then another. Now the listing has more days on market, multiple reductions, and buyers start wondering what is going on. That is why price adjustment needs to be strategic. The goal is not just to reduce. The goal is to reposition the home. A good price adjustment should make buyers reconsider the listing. It should put the home in a stronger position compared to your competition. It should create a reason for buyers to take another look. But the best way to avoid this problem is to launch with a strong pricing strategy from the beginning. That does not mean underpricing your home. I am not saying give your home away. I am saying price it in a way that makes sense to the market. There is a difference between pricing low and pricing strategically. Okay? A strong pricing strategy protects your equity while still attracting serious buyer attention. That is the balance. Now, let's talk about why pricing for room to negotiate can backfire. Another common mistake is pricing high just to leave room to negotiate. I understand this thinking. A seller may say, if I want to sell for this amount, let me list higher so I have room to come down. But here's the problem. If you price too high for negotiating room, you may lose the buyers who would have negotiated with you in the first place. Buyers search by price ranges. If your home is pushed into a higher bracket, it may be compared against stronger homes. Homes with more updates, more square footage, better condition, better location, better features, and if your home does not measure up in that bracket, buyers may skip it entirely. So instead of creating negotiating room, you create buyer resistance. Now, a buyer strategy is to price where the value is clear and let buyer interest create the leverage. When a home is priced right, buyers are more likely to act. And when buyers act, you have a better chance of creating stronger negotiations. But when a home is overpriced and sitting, the leverage can shift away from the seller. That is what sellers need to avoid. Now let's talk about how to avoid chasing the market down. So how do you avoid this mistake? Before you list, you need to study more than just what your neighbor sold for. You need to look at 4 things. Number 1, look at the sold homes. These show what buyers were willing to pay. But sold homes are only part of the picture. Second, look at active homes. These show what buyers can choose right now. That matters because your home will be competing with them. And number 3 is look at pending homes. These can show where buyer attention is going. If a similar home went pending quickly, study why. Was it price? Was it condition? Location? Marketing? Number 4, look at price reduced homes. This is very important. Price reduced homes can show what the market rejected. If similar homes started high and had to reduce, that is a warning sign. You also need to be honest about condition. But buyers compare your home to homes that are clean, staged, updated, freshly painted, and move-in ready. If your home has condition issues, the price needs to reflect that. And finally, you need to think like a buyer. Ask yourself, if I were buying today, would I choose my home at this price over the competition? Now that question can save sellers a lot of trouble because sellers think emotionally. Buyers compare practically. The closer you get to the buyer's mindset, the better your pricing strategy will be. Now, folks, my final takeaway here is, what is the most expensive seller mistake? For many homeowners, like I said, it's chasing the market down. It starts with overpricing, then buyer attention slows, then days on market builds. Then the listing starts to feel stale. Then price reductions happen. Buyers may start wondering what is wrong, and sometimes the seller ends up accepting less than they might have gotten if the home had been priced and positioned correctly from the beginning. That is why pricing matters so much. Not because every home needs to be priced low. That is not the point here. The point is that every home needs to be priced strategically. A strong list price should be based on the current market, not the current emotion. It should consider sold homes, active competition, pending homes, price reductions, condition, location, days on market, and buyer behavior. Because in Hampton Roads, buyers, they have choices. They can compare homes in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and beyond. So your home needs to make sense from day one. Do not just ask, what is the highest price I can try? Ask, what price gives me the best chance to attract serious buyers and protect my bottom line? That is the better question. And that question can save you money, stress, and a lot of time. So, if you're thinking about selling a home in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, or anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, please just comment the word price below, and I'll send you my seller pricing checklist so you can think through the market before choosing a list price. Because the goal is not to just list your home. The goal is to position it correctly from the beginning. Now, I'm Scott Stamper, the Cowboy Real Estate Agent, and I help owners across the entire Hampton Roads area make smarter selling decisions. I want to thank you for watching, and if you find any information in this video that was helpful, please just give me a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you down the road.